I got my law degree at Harvard University.
I'm a lawyer. I've done a lot of hard things in my life, but raising children is the hardest thing I've ever done.
It was really amazing, the level of intelligence of my classmates at Harvard. One of my former classmates is now a U.S. Supreme Court Justice, and that was when I learned that I wasn't the best at everything. You know, Krishna gave me the opportunity to see that I wasn't really special.
I am a second-generation Chinese on my father's side, and my mother was African American. So I really grew up in a kind of cultural crossfire. When I met the devotees and they said, "You're not this body," that was a message that really, made sense to me given my upbringing.
The culture I grew up in said, okay, if you do well in school and get into a good college, that's a stepping stone to success. And then you get into a good graduate school, that's a stepping stone to success. And you get a good job, and that's a stepping stone to success. And I went through all those stages, and I was not happy, but I kept thinking, well, maybe the next step, maybe the next step. And when I started practicing law in a big firm, I was able to look at examples of the partners there. This is what my life is going to be like in 30 or 40 years. And they were all miserable. And I thought, I don't want this kind of a life. I had met the devotees while I was in law school, but I thought they were wonderful people, but I didn't want to be one. But after going through that experience of looking at the people around me and realizing that I was not on the path to happiness, I started to take what the devotees had to say more seriously. And I have to say, I have found happiness. The association of devotees is the greatest joy in my life, especially working outside with, non-devotees, and many of my colleagues have been the most wonderful people. There's still a taste, when you interact with devotees, even devotees that you're not necessarily close to, but those interactions have a taste that's very sweet and you don't get anywhere else in the world.
I've been able, fortunately, to both work as an attorney but also use those skills in serving the devotees, different temples, and even on the GBC. I got involved with the Vaishnavi ministry through Malati Devi. Part of my role is just to be present in the GBC meetings, to bring up issues and considerations that affect Vaishnavis. The ministers attend all of the meetings, we can speak in the meetings. The only thing we can't do is vote. I think Vaishnavis need their own minister because the Vaishnavas are represented by everyone else at the table. There are 35 or more, sometimes 40 men in the room during the GBC meetings. There are 3 or 4, maybe 5 women. It's not that men are against women or women are against men, but men naturally think of things from their own point of view. So the Vaishnavi point of view isn't being represented. Also, because of the gender roles that ISKCON has, we do tend to have a little bit of a separation between the Vaishnavis and the Vaishnavas in terms of activities. What that means is many times the Vaishnavas are unaware of how policy may be affecting Vaishnavis or what Vaishnavis might need to help them advance in Krishna consciousness. The Vaishnavi ministry holds an annual meeting here in Mayapur every year, and then the regional Vaishnavi ministries also hold their own national or regional Vaishnavi retreats. And what we're doing right now is trying to build more networks so that we can encourage more of this. There's so many Vaishnavi Sanghas, and if we can coordinate and unite, we can all benefit. Well, I like to read. I like to read novels. I also like to do crafts like knitting and crocheting and making collages. I'm not terribly good at any of them. It's kind of fun to do something just because I want to and just as a creative thing without having a goal in mind. My husband and I have been married for 26 years, and I highly recommend being married for a long time. You really get to know the other person, and the relationship is very sweet. I have 2 children.
For me, it's been a little bit of a challenge to balance Krishna Consciousness, being a mother, and working as a lawyer. One thing I didn't realize is how relatively short the child rearing years were. When I was in the middle of them, it seemed like it was going to go on forever, and if I didn't jump on a career opportunity right away, I would have missed the boat. And from this side of child rearing, I can see that it would have been okay to prioritize the children more. My career would not have been affected, you know, and I regret that I didn't know that at the time. In fact, the first big firm I worked at when I graduated, in one of my reviews, the feedback that I got was that they thought I was more committed to my family than I was to the job. And I just kind of sat there thinking, well, yes, that's true, you know, and I didn't realize that they saw that as a big problem. I made a switch into teaching. I taught in law schools for 6 years. That was really rewarding and a nice balance. And presently I have my own practice, which allows me, of course, to set my own schedule so I can balance things more easily. Every mother is a leader. A leader means to inspire and to facilitate the devotional service of others, and every devotee has the ability to do that. Sometimes we think of leadership as dominating or controlling, but that's not what leadership is. It is difficult. It is very difficult.
I just urge everyone, we should respect the mothers in our movement. It is not an easy service.